G'day listeners, welcome to Barkarati, the Sailing Podcast. My name's Jordan Spencer and it's that time of the week where I get to hang out with some really cool sailors. But of course I have to share the mic with my two idiot mates. First off, let's welcome Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, Exalted One.
No BP. Wonder what's going on there. Well, let's get the other bloke in and see if he knows.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Mr. Nick Bice.
Well, I can't talk too much, but it seems to be a bit that time of the year.
Right.
Where a few of us go missing. How many episodes have you missed, mate? Zero. Exactly. Yeah, that's right. The episodes do not happen without you. But they do keep cranking on, and we're just going to keep cranking on. And so rumour has it, BP, he's obviously full noise into X2 project. And I believe he has, and feather and cap for BP, delivered his first boat today, the X2, to the new owner. So bravo. So I'm not entirely sure at what level of speaking capacity he may be in, whether he's super tired or super pissed. Who knows?
Yeah, we won't do that. We won't do the defender joke, but yeah, it's obviously something to do with that. So he sailed it up. They sailed up together today. He did a live coverage. Everyone's into it. It's a good-looking boat. Good luck to him. A lot of work. It's finally happening. Sold another couple this week as well. So there's plenty of them going around soon. It's good.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. Bravo. All that input we gave, Jordan, I think, it's probably a feather in our cap as well, just quietly.
Well, I think we can claim all rights.
Basically, yeah.
Cool. Anything to report at your end, mate?
No, negative. Just carrying on.
Cool.
Well, check out the LinkedIn page or check out CYCSA. There's a new job coming up for anyone who would like the sailing operations role in Australia. Yeah. Something I've been pushing for actually the last few months within the Cruising Yacht Club, to put someone in that role to really step it up at the Cruising Yacht Club. We've got the Elliots now, so this is a bit of an ad, and I am getting paid for it, just by the way. But I don't know how you get paid for this podcast, Jordan, but I just do my side gigs. But no, there is something. Check it out on Seek, Boating Industry, Australian Sailing. Could be good. Yeah, sounds like a good gig for someone. Full professional, proper, good income earning job. It's an adult's job though.
Adult's job, yeah. You've got to be grown up for this one. It's not an entry level job, that's for sure. So a lot of responsibility, but yeah, if you're into it, have a look. Mate, about a month ago, I mentioned our guest tonight. I mentioned how, he's probably gets the least coverage for one of the most talented guys in the country. And I always sort of wondered why he's not celebrated a bit more. And he rang me up and said, "You're right." No, he didn't. He did. So we thought, well, a good chance to have a bit of a chat to the guy. I know he's about to he's literally about to jump on his boat and head up the coast and go on a cruise. So we're very lucky he's given us a bit of time tonight. So our guest he's a one design sailor. He loves the one design. He's exactly the same as me. You want to prove yourself, you go sail one designs, and if you're good, you'll win. And he sailed in a ton of different classes, SB20s, Tasers, A classes, not quite a one design there. The Sydney 38s, won a bunch of Aussie champs in that. The Etchells, won the Etchells.
One design, out for debate.
I didn't even think of that. And recently he's been beating up the Contender class, 3-time world champion in that class. So welcome to the show, Mr. Mark Bulka. How are you, bud?
G'day. Thanks for having me. Yeah, very good. Very good.
Mate, Bicey and I, the one thing that we really want to talk to you about, you own a bike shop.
Yes.
I did.
Oh, you sold it.
Just sold it, yeah.
Still got the email address, though, I might add.
Oh, I quickly took that off. I was wondering why that was on, but yeah. Sold it, finished up at Christmas, so Boxing Day, last day.
Oh. Oh.
So basically took advantage of the COVID uproar, everyone buying bikes, got out while you could.
It was like 2 years of Christmas Eve.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It was
Absolutely.
that big? Wow.
It was that huge. That's why there's just nothing around. So amazing time. You couldn't not go well for that period of time. So. Yeah.
So you sold out just because, you've made so much money you don't need to work anymore.
It was just taking up all my sailing time.
Oh. That makes sense.
I had all these regattas coming up. I thought I'm going to miss out on all these regattas if I keep working this hard. So that's it. I'm done. So,
Bice is quite phenomenal on a bike when he's fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, genuine.
Downhill?
Yeah. I'm genuine.
Downhill
He's
at the
a
minute.
good rider.
But like you say, when I'm fit. But let's talk more about the bikes. What particular brands were you selling, Mark?
The biggest brand was Giant, Scott. They were probably my two big ones.
Yeah.
Did a bit of everything over the years. So yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, very cool.
Down Bikes Road.
Are you a good cyclist yourself?
I had my moments downhill, but
you're a bit big.
Yeah, I had a couple of goes at becoming okay, but just as a sort of a side thing to the sailing. But sailing's way better.
Sailing's way better. Yeah, way better. Yeah. Mate, the other thing we need to mention to give everyone listening a picture before we go deep into the sailing is you've got a little sort of tinge of the ginge there, mate. Are you a big part of the? Do you claim to be a ginger?
No, I'm blonder than ginge. One of my sons is definitely ginger, but not me. So,
No worries. It's the era of the ginge, and I was just wondering if you're a part of that program, you're willing to step into that program or not, All the gingers are dominating.
Maybe just down here a little bit, I think. So, yeah.
Ooh. Given that sort of fray, and for the listeners, we're just referring to the sideburns.
Yeah.
You may find yourself on the Genya Challenge.
Yeah, that's
the Barkarati Genya Challenge.
Oh, okay.
So
I'm up for anything.
We got a few crackers in the vault for that one.
Yeah.
And I reckon you would fit right in, Mark.
No worries.
Absolutely.
No problem.
cool. Right. Well, have you always been in Victoria, mate?
Yeah.
So
I sort of sail at Macrae Yacht Club's sort of been my home club, and Safety Beach. I belong at both clubs. So
no good sailors have ever come out of Macrae, mate.
No good sailors?
Yeah, no good sailors.
Well, yeah.
Who do you know?
Let's be honest. There's a certain Australian bloke who's in the New Zealand team over there. He's a Macrae boy.
He's so good. He's even reverting to land yachts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I asked him to come up north with us on the cruise, but he goes, "I've got this going on. Do you want to come over and give us a hand?" I said, "I think I'll go for a cruise instead." But,
really?
Yeah.
You didn't.
He's nearly my neighbour. We do share a school run. So
yeah. So for those who don't know, we're talking about Glen Ashby, and obviously Bice is referring to the new land speed record the Kiwis are doing as part of their development. You didn't have any interest, just to see what the
I asked him a few times for a ride,
right?
And he's never given me one.
I thought you two were close.
I thought we were too.
All right. So how did sailing start for you, mate? What was your gig into it?
My parents started when I was about 5, and just wanted to be on the boat. They had They had a boat hire and a yacht hire down on the beach.
In Port Phillip Bay, or
in Port Phillip Bay. So we'd sort of be there after school, and all the yachts would be lined up on the beach, and we would go sailing, and there was a yacht club just up the road. So we did just ridiculous amounts of sailing as kids. It was just all there for us to do.
God.
And, we had Rosebud Yacht Club about a K up the road. I'd sail up there, do their club race, and then Macrae Yacht Club was another K up there. So there was always a race up the road. So I just was in and just never stopped.
What was the kids' boat for you guys?
Ooh, we did a lot of cat sailing early on. because my parents were involved in that era. They became agents for things like Maricats and Windrushes and Hydras and Windrush 600. So my dad was very into that, into selling those yachts. So we did a lot of cats, and then I sort of got a little bit bored, thought I wanted a bit more racing, and for some reason I jumped from that straight into a fin, and did that for a while. Probably went in a bit earlier. I should have done lasers or something a bit more, but yeah.
It's,
the Mari cat to fin, it's such a natural progression.
No, I went Hydras. I did Hydras quite aggressively for a while. That was a reasonable class at the time. The Windrushes were quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we used to have huge fleets of those in Melbourne. They're probably everywhere, but it was certainly they were the classes to sail for a few years. So.
Mate,
before we go actually to the next classes, the fact you had all those boats on the dock that your parents were in charge with, like were you kind of part of the maintenance program? Was that a good way to learn basically boats? Like just always being on them, just the understanding of what goes on, what needs to happen to keep them on the water?
Probably not then, because I was like 5, 6, 7, 8. I wasn't probably doing too much maintenance then. But no, I suppose your dad does everything for a while. We just had the opportunity to sail so much. And then my dad just helped design a few boats. And then you go, right, take that to that 5 metre under cat challenge and clean them up. And I used to do very well. So it was a good way for him to try to sell boats, was to stick me out there and try to win a few regattas and show these boats off a bit. So
the 8-year-old pro.
Maybe a bit older than pro, but maybe a bit older than 8. But I always remember sailing these adult boats at 9 and 10 and everyone being pissed off, being pissed off that this lightweight who's half their weight goes past everyone in the light weather. I probably couldn't sail, but I thought I could, but it was just being 50 kilos lighter than your opposition helped a bit.
Wow. You're not that anymore, mate.
No, now I'm a heavyweight.
Yeah. Yeah, those all those boats you mentioned, like they're all the perfect off the beat, exactly the boats you find at a beach hire, like they're all the, they're pretty much the 3 brands that you'd find at any beach hire in Australia, I reckon.
Well, I remember when he first put them on the beach, people would come and sail them and they go, can we buy one? And he went, and he quickly decided that selling the boats was the go, and he was selling literally truckloads. There were semi-trailer loads coming over from WA of Windrushes and Maricats from Sydney, and the trailers were being made up the road, and you just piece it all together and ring up this list of people he had on the wall. He had this huge list, and you just ring them up. They didn't care what colour it was. They just took whatever turned up. It was a boom period for that sort of sailing.
Wow. Cool.
So were you basically like the equivalent of the American pageant princess for your father in catamarans, just getting his brand out there? And
well, he was into it as well. He was into it as well. And, we had a few. And I raced once when I was a kid, and we sailed the same class, and I beat him. We never raced again.
I was just going to ask.
We never raced against each other again. So.
Wow. Yeah, it's a hard day, I think, when the kid starts beating the father, or the parent. That's a big comeuppance that day. How young were you when that happened?
I was pretty early.
Oh no,
4 or 5.
Maybe it was around 10 or 11 or something like that.
Wow.
I'm not sure.
Wow, your poor old man. But still, he made he was living a nice life. I can't think of better things, worse things to be doing.
It was great fun. It was awesome. Yeah.
Do you reckon that that time on the water, sort of as a kid, just having fun on boats, gave you a lot of the skills that you use now?
Definitely. And having fun, that's the key. I think that's what we're trying to do with my kids now who are that age as well. Yeah. So, we're trying not to get caught up in all the squads and all the drills and just trying to, if they don't want to go, they don't go.
Yep.
But suddenly there's a friend down at this club. Can I have my boat there to sail? Yep. Straight there, Yeah. So just trying to make sure they're having a good time.
I noticed you've been sailing, I'm pretty sure I saw you're sailing with one of your boys in Tasars. So obviously, not the fun's not lasting the whole time if he's out sailing. It's a joke. All the Taser people, it was a joke. It was a joke. So you got third at Port Lincoln Nationals. Just happened.
Yeah, that was good. Actually, yeah, that was enjoyable. That was actually a good breakthrough regatta for us because it was extremely windy, and he's not here, so he was sort of crying on the beach. I don't want to go out. And but by the end of the regatta, I said to him, like, well, I can't spend my whole morning trying to talk you into coming sailing each day. I need to think about the boat. I need you just to be hopping on the boat. I don't want to be talking you into it. And by the time the first race started, there was no more hesitation, and it was good.
He was just nervous.
25 knot regatta. It was good.
Yeah. He was just nervous, obviously.
Yeah, he's actually quite good. I think he's becoming a good little sailor. Yeah. So it's great to sail him. I think there's nothing better than sailing with your kids.
Yeah. Do you think the fact that you put a trapeze on the Taser made any difference?
Yeah, no, we're talking about a trapezing boat. That's not far away, I think. So we'll get there.
And Port Lincoln, mate. Any views on Port Lincoln?
That's awesome. Why are you from Port Lincoln? No.
Good answer, Mark. It's possibly the centre of the universe. It's up for debate, but I'd put the vote out now and I'd say it is the centre of the universe. So, good answer, Mark.
No, I think it's like the launching area is just magic, isn't it? On that beautiful grass under the trees, it's fantastic. And then the breeze just blows. Like if you like wind, it's just glorious. Glorious.
And, well, I would say, so you guys were there, was it late December or early Jan for the Nationals?
Yeah. It was into the...
So you had
28th, 29th of January, I think we might...
December. Yeah. So good sou'westers coming through.
It blew really hard.
Yeah. Flat water.
Yeah, we got some waves.
Sure.
We're on the other side of the pier, so there was a bit of a wave out there.
Yeah.
Not Port Phillip Bay waves.
No,
of course not.
Completely different to Port Phillip Bay. But similar, like probably same water temperature. So it would have been fun. And I'm glad your son sort of got to enjoy it. I guess I think that's something that like you're worried, as you said, you want to make it fun, and doing a nationals can be difficult, and especially if you're at the front of the fleet. That's a little bit of pressure. He probably felt that pressure a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't sort of high five or get too excited with a win. I just sort of go across the line and it's a win and it's nice. But when we won the first race, our first win over there, he's literally fist pumping, and I'm like, I'm looking at him going, "Are you right?" He goes, "That's just great. That's awesome." And I'm thinking, "Yeah, all right. Just remember there's another one to go." And he's like, "Oh, it's great. It's great." So it was makes you feel good.
The Taser does rely on the crew actually being quite good. So because the Vang's probably your main control, and so if you ask me, that's your first control line. I reckon you'd go for on on a Taser.
Not so much the Vang.
No. I always thought if you, I'm too big to sail Tasers, but I always thought if you Boss, you'd know better than me.
You just need a small crew.
Just need a small crew. There you go.
Which is what I'm sailing with. So.
Yeah.
All right. So enough about January. Let's go back a few more years, Mark. And so you've jumped into the fin out of the Murray Cat. And so what's the progression from there to become the sailor you've become? Or when was the switch between just going for a sail, having a good time, beating the old man, to really taking it seriously and basically putting those rungs on the board?
So I don't know why I was so motivated, because I see the kids struggle with it today, but 7 days a week I trained and I was just never wavered. If I turned up I had this rule. I remember reading something about Mike Tyson saying he just trained at 5 o'clock in the morning because someone won't train, I will train. So I had this rule that if I turn up at the beach and it's glass, I'm going out. If it's 45 knots, I'm going out. So I just never didn't sail. And I sailed 7 days a week for 10 years, I reckon. And
wow.
And it's paid off in being able to sail.
And being able to sail, yeah.
I mean, I had lots of problems with the fin in that I had no idea about how much money you need to try doing Olympics, and my parents didn't know about that either. And so I made lots of mistakes, but I could sail.
What era was that when you were in the Finn? Who were you against?
Oh, sorry.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, but what you remember the years?
Yeah, I don't know if I want to say it. It was a fair while ago. It was in the 90s.
Oh, okay. So who was that? Oh, that would have been post Brady. That would have been when Goose. Was it Goose and Berkey?
Yeah. So I sort of did it in two stages. I came in as a year 12 student with no money and put a fin on the water and did all the local regattas and thought I was okay. And then as soon as I came up against anyone with money and who was good, I just got blown away, and I realised I wasn't really ready for it, and went and did a whole lot of other classes, skiffs, and a whole lot of other stuff. And then I thought, got a little bit, set up a business, got a little bit more money behind me. I thought I'll come back and I'll go again. So I had a bit more of a crack at it.
Right, right.
So I finished. I think I sold my boat in 2001. I probably should have kept going, but at that point, but I decided I just want to sail some more classes.
So then you went through, like you would have been Goose, Berkey, and then into Knocker.
Yeah, I was with Knocker.
Yeah. Copy. Sorry, Bossy, I spoke over.
No, I was going to. We'll dismiss that comment I made. But this one, did you actually go on tour with Knocker?
We were definitely going around Europe together. We didn't drive together or stay in the same places. I think he stayed at my house a couple of times down here, but yeah.
I think that is a complete another episode.
Yeah,
and we'll save that for another episode because there's
straight away something comes to mind about.
There's a few people, and this one thing that comes to my mind is a story Stu Bannatyne talks about touring with Knocker in the Finn days, and they're heading up the coast and blah, blah, blah. And I'm sure you've got a much similar story, Mark.
Yeah, I know Stu. He was that time as well. So, got to know him pretty well.
Yeah.
I can think of some really bad stories that there's no way you could publish. So.
We can publish anything. We're just putting an E next to it.
Yeah, that's it. We haven't been game to get Knocker on the show yet. That's where we're at currently. So just so you know, Mark, one of the things that we take is really important for us on the show is to try and talk about pathways to success, and a lot of young sailors listen. We get a lot of emails from them, and they listen to when we have a guest like yourself and they go through the pathway, what you did. And a lot of them will use it as a map. So just at this stage, we've got start in your Maricat, and then into your Finn, sailing 7 days a week. So we're just so you know that's you're influencing somebody out there.
Yeah, I mean, there's all different classes, different eras, so yeah.
All right. So when did you think, like, oh, you know what, I'm pretty good at this?
I thought when I was doing the Finns, I honestly. And, you have a bit of an ego. Everyone at that level has a bit of an ego. And I actually thought I was the best sailor in the Finn overseas.
Yep.
But I just didn't have the gear.
Right.
I just thought I could hike harder and tack better and sail faster downwind. I used to rip through the fleet downwind, which wasn't as important as upwind. So it wasn't – your gear wasn't as important, I didn't think. Yeah. So in the Finns, I thought I was going well. And then when I started jumping into other classes, I realised I could win in most classes. So,
yeah. Well,
which reminds me, I need to talk about the 2004 Etchell Nationals in Adelaide.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You kept going right. No one ever goes right in Adelaide.
Did it work?
Well, you won the Nationals, I believe.
I don't think we always went right. I still remember that.
No. I remember. I actually, just to put it into perspective, I sailed a couple of days with Squark for whatever reason. And I was telling Squark, okay, here, depending on the time of day, the right could come early, but keep an eye on the left. First race we go out. I remember specifically you guys go hard right and you lead around the top mark by about 300 metres. So, maybe not today.
I think I remember that. There was a great big band of cloud coming across from the right-hand side, and we just went over. And actually, I was saying with Ashby, and he goes, look at that cloud. And we're like, yeah, let's go. So
got to go there.
Grab that. And we had no idea what we were doing with the rig setup or anything back then. And I always remember that year, Bertrand took me out for dinner. He goes, oh, come on, tell me what you know. Like he's trying to extract what I know about the Etchell. And I still remember my conversations with him that night at dinner. And after a couple of years later, I look back and go, he must have thought I was the biggest tool, and he to have beaten him with what I knew, because I knew nothing. So.
Yeah. So I had an Etchell in those days at Adelaide, and it was one of the ones that went up in smoke that got destroyed by fire before the Nationals. So
so it should have, you cheating bastards.
So I was driving around on one of the rescue boats just doing a bit of watching, and you and one other boat had didn't have north sails. You had, I can't remember.
Quantum?
Yeah, and they were a bit deeper. And I remember looking from behind them going, oh, those two boats are going to go well. They have a bit more punch for this sea. And you guys went really well. I think both. It was you and was it bloody? It was Wild Thing. Warro.
Yeah, Warro. Yeah, definitely.
It was Warro
and GT.
Yeah, on GT's boat. That's it. Yeah. So I wondered if that, maybe you attributed to that, or you just went, oh, no, we're just brilliant.
There's a long story behind that, but I had an old boat, and I bought a new set of North sails, put it on, and I was about 4 years old, the boat, and I couldn't get in the top half of the fleet at any stage. Yeah. And I was like, this is rubbish. And I got Noel Drennan came on. I said, what's wrong with my boat? And he goes, oh, it's your mast. So I put a new mast on, didn't improve. And I hopped on his boat and I said, what's with your sails? They look completely different to mine. He goes, oh, they're the same as yours. I'm like, no, they're not.
No, they're not.
So he took them away. He goes, they recut them. They sent me this big bill for it. And I said, all right, so I need another set. Are you going to bill me for my next set when I don't like them? And he went, yep. I rang Dave, who's a mate of mine, lives up the road. I said, you want to do some Etchell sales? And if I do all right, you got to look after me. And he went, sure. So we did some Etchell sales.
Yeah, there you go.
And we won the Nationals, and then he won a couple of states, and then all of a sudden every person in Victoria was buying Quantum Etchell sales.
Yeah.
So it went well for him.
Well, I think those North sails at the time were made, for Sydney Harbour, a bit flatter water, and the sails you had looked a lot more punchy, and Adelaide gets the same sort of punchy chop, particularly right where you were sailing at Adelaide Sailing Club. It gets that same punchy chop like Port Phillip does. So I had no doubt as soon as I saw them, I thought, they've got something different to everyone else. They'll be all right. So, and then you won.
It was definitely going well. It was good. Yeah, but I think the North sails became very similar very quickly. Yeah. Because Michael Coxon was trying to get me back, and he's sending me sails, and I laid them out and did the luff curves. I'm like, these have got identical luff curves now. They started looking very similar.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
The beauty of Etchells now, if you laid a actual kill line out, they look completely different to each other.
Oh, yeah.
Where do you stand on the Etchell debate, Mark?
Where do I stand? Oh, well, I'm glad I don't have an Etchell. I actually had the last Australian boat that was out of the Australian moulds.
Bashford or...
No, the last pace setter.
Yeah.
Before they changed moulds.
Oh.
But, look, I think it's just they just made a mistake. The guys that drew it up on the CAD files, joined up all the measurement points and didn't do it right. So... Yeah.
Interesting times. And now, so were you going to come up for the midwinters this year? I know you're cruising. Of course you're not going to.
No, I did send a little note to Bertrand. I said, oh, how's it going up? But he didn't come back to me with, I'm going up. Do you want to come?
Yeah, it doesn't matter now because no one can get out of the harbour. You'll discover I might have to lead you in a dinghy, mate, if you do come past.
We're definitely coming up. I'm hoping we can get in. So very keen to get in.
I'll tell you what, Mark, he won't do it in a dinghy, Jordan. He's going to do it on a surf ski.
Yeah, I'll paddle out on my ski.
He'll show you how to just surf that bastard in like you wouldn't believe.
I'll paddle out on my ski and show you the way in, mate. It is difficult.
I'm going to have my little kids with me. I need it to be safe. So
yeah, it's difficult. Give me a call before you get a day out, and I'll tell you.
So speaking of which, let's go into that then, and then we can just bounce around. So we'll just for the listener, this interview is taking place Friday evening, Saturday morning, very early. You're off for a big adventure.
3 a.m. Yeah, 3 a.m. We're pushing off and going out the heads. Slack water at the heads is at 6, so in Port Phillip Bay. So we're going to hit the slack water at 6, and doesn't look like too much wind. So I think we're just going to be chugging along with the motor on. So,
What's your plans? Just heading up the East Coast for the winter, or?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, I'd rather go overseas. I'd rather go yacht racing, but it's just Europe and getting boats over there at the moment. It's all looks pretty hard and expensive. So we've got the boat, so we thought let's do it. So we'll take it up to Southport with a couple of mates, and then family will fly into there, and we'll just cruise up, do the island thing, and then I got some good sailors hopping on to do Hamo. Just got a house there, so we'll do race week in golf handicap division, and then cruise home.
You know who you'll bump into up there? Do you know you'd know Sandy Higgins, wouldn't you?
Only a little bit.
Only a little bit, yeah. Obviously, another very talented one design dinghy sailor. He's got a 44-footer as well. Same. He's got a Beneteau 44, and he'll be roaming around
in race week. Actually, we'd be up against him.
Oh,
I don't know if he's doing race week.
Hello.
Yeah,
let's run a book.
Yes.
Let's set up a book. Bulka v Higgins.
I'm just sailing with the. Can you just tell the handicapper? I'm just sailing with the my kids' friends from school.
Oh yeah.
All right, the handicapper's jotting that down now. Kids from school.
And Lindsay Irwin's just cleaning the hull.
Yeah.
Got a good shore crew then.
Yeah.
Actually, I won't say who I've got. The handicap will go the wrong way. So.
Ashby?
No, he's doing that speed. Funny thing. So
no, I figure it'll be. Oh, Berkey will step on. You're mates with Berkey.
Yeah, no, I don't think he would. But
what do you got? A Dufour 47?
44.
No. But have Berkey in. We'll just give it a little bump here and there.
Yes.
Oh dear. I think there's too many in-jokes in this episode. I'm a bit concerned that some of the listeners won't be getting these jokes. We'll move on from that one. That'll be fun, mate. Like, I must admit, from the perspective of a sailor, I'm talking to Sandy literally about this exact thing. I spend more days thinking about going on cruising trips than I do about racing boats these days, Not you yet?
Again, for the listener, we have video set up here. Mark, you were definitely not there.
No.
You want to go racing 100%. And I'm just looking over your, call it your CV or resume, whatever it may be. I want to hear more about the A-class. Yeah,
well, I mean, Glenn had a couple of boats coming in, and one of them didn't turn up in time for the regatta. He said, why don't you have a crack again? I did the A's years ago. He and I toured around Europe with the A's on the back in a bongo van, and which was pretty good fun. And he said, I've got another foiling one coming in. Why don't you give it a go? I thought, all right, why not? I haven't foiled before. So I went out and sailed like a maniac to try to learn how to do it. And then he said, why don't you come and do some sailing with the Team NZ boys? So I thought, all right. So I trained with them. I thought, well, I better learn how to do it before I start training with them. So I sailed every day for months and started getting the swing of it. But there's a bit to learn. New sport, really.
Really?
Yeah. It's a new sport. Everything you've learned, nothing crosses over from other classes. So it's...
But that was also a real development phase with that sort of breaking into foiling with the A's at that stage. Remember, I think they weren't supposed to fully foil, and then, you were, and there was a bit of backwards and forwards, or was that after that it all happened?
Mine's after that. Mine's full foiling. It's just, it's just full non-stop foiling.
Right. Right.
And now we're upgrading the boats all the time. So we've got differential now and rake rudders.
Oh,
and,
wow.
Yeah, they're absolute weapons.
Wow.
Quite dangerous, actually. I think they're pretty dangerous machines. People are hurting themselves a bit, and you're coming in always beat up after a windy day. So it's. But I think it's worth look. If you're into it, you should. Everyone. I'm not saying everyone should do it. I'm not talking my mates into it because I don't want them to hurt themselves on my call. But it is a good thing to learn how to do. If you're a bit bored with your sailing, give it a crack.
Is it kind of? Were you ever into windsurfing?
Mark,
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. So is it closer to windsurfing than sailing? For example, I found when I jumped into Moth, and I only did it just for a day or so, it was more of a sensation. I was treating the Moth because you got up on the foils a bit like a windsurfer, but kind of missed and didn't really appreciate the sailing side. So it was a bit mixed up, but I can see the A class as soon as she's up, she's off.
I sail because I really like the racing. So I like just boats. I'm happy to sail a slow boat and have really, really good racing. But if I'm going down to Macrae Yacht Club and there's 2 contenders there and I'm thinking, am I really going to go out and sail against 2 contenders? I sail the A class. I don't care it doesn't matter if there's nobody on the water. It's right. I can go out there on a weeknight and it's still enjoyable because it's just a new challenge. The racing, I'm not really into the A class racing. It's not really doing it for me. But the skill of sailing the boat is like the windsurfing. You can go out there and just fang up and down for an hour or two, and it's like windsurfing. Yeah, it's for some reason, my wife always says, "How do you not get bored windsurfing for 5 hours straight?" I'm like, I don't know. It's just good. The A class is a bit like that as well. So
sure. Just a simple man. I like it.
In saying that, then, and you mention it, the Contender.
Oh yes,
complete domination from your side.
Awesome boats.
It's literally a laser with a trapeze and a decent rig.
I think the Contender is just about the best boat.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because it's one of those boats that you can sail off the beach without a rudder. They're well-balanced boat, and you can just steer them with your body weight. And I reckon that's often a sign of a good boat, when you can sail it without the rudder, easy like you can with the Contender. And I've seen, you can do it from the wire. So...
They're magic boats. They've got the right amount of power in the sail. You can pass boats on reaches. They're fast. They're pretty quick upwind. They sort of go 7.5, 8 knots upwind. So it's not too bad, but slow enough that the racing's good.
Good.
You don't have to go out and practice your hiking 7 days a week just to be fit enough to stay in the game. You can just stand on the side, and you don't have to be Matt Wern or to go upwind. So that's why you can get a lot of fat, unfit people hop in and blow you away. Which happens a bit.
There's always been a good fleet of the Contenders down in Victoria. It's been pretty strong. I think you go right back to the Arthur Brett days is where I sort of was first aware of Contenders. The fleet, has it ever sort of dropped away, or is it still going strong? Because I think there's a Worlds coming up in a year or two, isn't there?
Next summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got to get my cruiser back quickly so I can start practicing. So we're over in Fremantle next January.
So
it dropped away. It's definitely come and gone a little bit. There's quite a lot of boat builders around the world now. It's huge overseas. I mean, the first Worlds I went to in 2014, we had 174 boats at Lake Como. It was epic.
Wow.
And generally, Worlds in the southern part of Europe will be 140 plus boats.
Wow.
Good fleets.
Just from a technical point of view, what works in a Contender? Like 90 kilos, 100 kilos, different mass, different boats?
You want a Venezia type shaped boat, which is the Italian hull, but even the hull's shape that the New South Wales, the laser guys PSA are about to start building in Sydney.
Yeah.
That hull shape's good. So hull shapes are okay. Mass, I use the CSTs in Sydney, but there's plenty of mass makers around the world that are doing all right. Weight-wise, it just depends on the regatta. Like there's a few guys floating around. A guy won the last Worlds, because we haven't had Worlds for a few years now. The guy won, he was 65 kilos.
Wow.
Which is ridiculous because you can't really sail the boats that much well at 65 kilos. But there was no wind for the whole regatta. So I never hooked on trapeze once, and every time I looked at him, he was flat out on wire. I was like, this is painful.
Yeah. Bullshit. Yeah.
But I think ultimately, I think 85 to 95 is the pocket.
Yeah.
But I think 90 is pretty nice most of the time.
So what made you go for the Contender? Was it just because they were being sailed at your club and you just thought, I'll give that a go? Or
I had one briefly while I was doing the fins just for a bit of a muck around because they had quite good fleets locally. I thought I'll just pull this out to go and sail against the guys when there wasn't much fin sailing going on. So I did like it when I sailed it. That was the main reason. And we had about 18 at our club at Macrae, and Blair Gary, which is only a couple of clubs up the road, I think they've got about 25 now. So, just good local fleets that you can go and have a muck around with.
Yep. It's a cool boat. Like, you'd almost think that they were going to drop away, wouldn't you? Like, you don't think that they're going to last as long as they have, but they have been around for quite a while. Do you think that they're going to keep that longevity? Is that something?
I think they're growing quickly now. All the boat builders seem to be making boats again. There seems to be good demand for the boats.
Yep. Well, the other interesting thing about the old Contender is that they've got, the Benetzi boats are all these beautiful cold moulded looking things. They're wooden. Well, foam.
Timber, mate.
Yeah, sorry.
Woods for the fire. Just to get that straight.
Well, I'm assuming is it a foam sandwich or with a veneer? Yeah,
it's like a laminate that they put over the top. Well, that was his father, the Benetzi father, Vito Benetzi. He made them. He's retired now. So now that builder, the son is the builder now, and he's mainly making them out of fibre epoxy now. Yeah. So, but the timber, I've got a timber one, and it is a beautiful looking machine.
Yeah.
But I've also had the fiberglass one as well, and I won one of my Worlds in a fiberglass one. They're definitely okay. Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, it's Andrea Benetzi, I think, from memory. He was the man for quite a while. 7 or 8 Worlds from memory.
Amazing. Yeah.
But who's the people that you battle with mainly now? Is it?
Well, I had Jason Beebe in Queensland, but he's stepped away to do the Moss. We got Matty Mulder in Sydney. He's a great sailor.
Yep.
He's big, so he's little one-dimensional. He's just so fast in the breeze. I think he weighs about 114 kilos. Right. But the boat handles the weight. He's a rocket.
Lucky you won't get much breeze in Freo.
Yeah. Yeah, the races are scheduled from 8 till 10 a.m.
I did ask that question. I said, can we run them a bit earlier? There's been no reply. And I'm doing the Tasar Nationals the week before those Worlds. So, I don't really want to get that fat to...
No.
We did it. That's actually the reason I opted out of the Etchells in the end. I felt like... I thought my sheet hand was going to have a heart attack because I was asking him to be so heavy.
Yeah.
I said to him as soon as I stopped, I think you better lose some weight now.
Yeah.
I actually enjoy being in the Etchells because I've got to be up to a certain weight. And my lifestyle kind of makes me be in that weight zone. As for jumping in the VX now, we might just spin it. Yeah. No, just to maintain the weight levels. But you must have gone through like all your different classes, like you say, like the Etchells, you had to be up there and to try and meet these different weights. Have you bounced around over the last 30 years or so? Or
a lot. Fins, I got up to 106 kilos.
Yeah.
Some of the A-class regattas, I've been down to 86.
Yeah.
Yeah.
a couple of years ago, I was sailing with my 8-year-old in the Tasar Nationals up in Darwin. I went back up to 98, and I thought, this is not actually that good a weight anymore for me to be at.
No.
It wasn't in the fin days, at least it was muscle. In the Tasar, it was McDonald's.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
probably not the right way to get there.
Yeah. It's interesting, you know, that's one of the things people who are non-sailors don't understand when you're in a one design fleet and you know, people say you bump into people at a pub and you've got these sailors talking about their weight all the time, you know, like what weight, it's just surreal for people. I think they go, look at these blokes knocking back beers but talking about their weight.
But how about you're talking to a 24-year-old girl sailor and you go, what do you weigh?
Yeah.
And she answers.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you're a bit heavy, I think. You need to drop a couple. You want to win.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? You know, when you do a bit of coaching, you've got to have some really delicate conversations in that situation, you know, like because you do have to talk it into the 1 or 2 kilos of one, you're looking at their height, 2, you know, imagine being a 470 crew, you know, like Will Ryan. Imagine being poor old Will Ryan. He's 6'3" and 12 kilos or something.
Oh, it's a tough sport sometimes.
It is. It is. It is. And
Hey, Mark, tell me, like all the one design boats you've sailed, obviously a lot. Is there a standout apart from? Well, obviously we heard about the Contender, but
not really. I'd sail a mirror if there was 100 of them sailing up the road. So it doesn't. I don't think it matters that much. The Taser's good because I can sail with my son and not be in a junior class. I can sail an adult class and sail against, you know, some really good sailors.
Yeah.
So that's been quite enjoyable.
Yeah.
The Etchell sailing with some mates, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
As you guys know, like it's great to go on that journey, isn't it? Hop in the car, let's go, get a house, go out for dinner. I probably just enjoy the people that you get to sail with. You know, got to sail quite a bit with, like my 2 idols have been Bertrand and Berkey, and I've sailed with both of those. Bertrand I've sailed a fair bit with, and sailing with Berkey was pretty cool. So being able to do that's pretty nice. Again, I don't care what. I mean, I think those SB20, that bar is shocking, but I think my coccyx is still bruised from doing that.
Oh, the bar, yeah.
Oh, it's just terrible. Yeah. But you know, that racing was great as well. Something different.
I think the message that, you know, I'm taking from it, mate, is just don't matter what you're sailing, as long as you're out sailing, have a good time. That's kind of what you're saying consistently throughout this whole discussion.
Yeah. And I think people should go and sail everywhere. Like, don't get locked into training at your own club because every geographical place poses a new lesson to be learned. And that's what I like to see kids doing, going and sailing everywhere, going and doing these lake regattas. I think lake sailing's awesome.
Yeah.
I think there should be more of that.
Yeah.
You sort of said to me, what's the pathway? Well, you sort of said something about the pathway before we went on air, and I was thinking, you know, I think Yachting Australia should be working with these lake regattas, which are quite big. Everyone camps at the lake. You go and sail in some really shifty environments. The kids get to hang out together. The parents sit around fires and do a bit of bar karate after racing. And to me, they're the best regattas. And every time I see one of those on, we're there now. You know, I've got the kids in tow, piles of boats going everywhere, and we're into it. We love it.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think that's a fantastic story, you know, like there's a lot of people doing races up rivers these days, you know. It's what the Poms have always done, you know. They half their sailing, most of them grew up sailing up rivers and little reservoirs and stuff like that. And the camping thing, I reckon you're onto it there, you know, like the
kids just have such a great time.
Yeah.
Like we went to Lake Bogra for Easter and took the caravan and the boats and the sailboard and the stand-ups, and the kids were going out sailing. I'd get up for my morning trot, and the kids are going out on the water for a fun sail at 7 a.m. on someone else's 420. They were out sailing in the evening with lights. After we had dinner, they were going out sailing at midnight because it was a full moon.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, this is what it's all about.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, down in Victoria, the Australian Sailing were running a Victorian Youth Championships on the bay in a slogfest.
With 12 entries.
and no one, and there was no boats from our. I think there was only a handful of boats from our state even went. And I was like, they should all be at Boga now or one of these other Easter regattas and just having a great time. Instead, half of those kids, or probably 90% of those kids who did that regatta, will be out of the sport in a few years' time. Where the kids that were at Boga probably still going.
Yeah,
because they're having a great time.
This is probably, when I get asked, what do I need to do to make my kid a great sailor? Like you get asked that question a lot, and I just say, just make sure they're having fun. Just go sailing. Like you don't. You don't.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jordan and Mark, like we've spoken, it's not interviewed, but spoken to a lot of people, and the most successful people we've spoken to, and this is not to do with their success, but they were 12 years old, just having fun, just off the beach. There was no pressure. There was no coach boats. There was nothing to do with that. And this is, I kind of sense exactly what you're saying there up at the lake. It's the kids were out there. And in a few years' time, they're the ones who will probably thrive.
I'm sure there was no kids going out on the water at 7 a.m. at the youth championship.
Correct. Yeah.
We did talk to Adrian Finglas, who you'd know quite well, when he did the Sabres, and he had his boat rigged up at 5 a.m. But that's AIDS. He's a special.
Yeah, no, he would do that. That's an America's Cup Sabre program, that one.
Yes, yeah. It's the question then becomes for you, mate. Like obviously going for a bit of cruising time. Then the Contender Worlds. What's the sort of program for you ongoing now that you've sold your bike shop and you've got heaps of time to go sailing?
Oh, I'm just going to sail so much more.
And what though? Like, have you got any goals?
So I'll do these Contender Worlds over in Perth. I mean, I'm just not prepared to go to that sort of fat category again. So I'm going to struggle a little bit with Maddie, and there's a guy from Britain who's going to be loving that as well. But I'll need either a couple of light days or for them to make some mistakes. But I'll be close with them, so you never know.
Or take them to Little Creatures Brewery the night before.
Yeah, Maddie likes a beer, so that problem is he always seems to push up the next day. I don't know how he does it. So.
The other good thing about Freo, of course, it won't be windy and it's not a one-way track either, so it's not really just all speed. Yeah. And then I'll do the Tasar Nationals next year as well. And if my son doesn't get too big, we'll do the Tasar Worlds the year after. Yeah. And I'll go overseas next winter and do I'll do a bit of a European tour on the Contender. So I'll do the Kiel and there's a world titles in Denmark. So. Oh, it sounds like a nice life, mate.
Trying.
Yeah.
Got to live your best life, don't you?
You only get one shot at it. So, it's good. Just I'll be interested just to see your views on, we've as a sport, we've never really, everything's sort of been doing lots of different random things and no one's ever been able to claim, they're the best sailor or this, like you get the Olympics occasionally. But, with Sail GP, with some of these pro events now, and we're starting to see some standout sailors, are you impressed by what we're seeing, or are there some of these guys that blow your mind, or are you just thinking it's a bit of a show? What's your thoughts on where we are with sailing at the moment?
Well, the thing is that people who are just looking at the sport from the outside don't understand the little, there's a bit of a cloud action going over there. Let's just push a bit deeper and get across to that. So it's a different sport, isn't it, that they're seeing. But I think it's good for the spectators. I definitely watch it. I'm interested. I watch the starts. I often scroll through and get to the end. I often don't watch the whole thing. Yeah, I often don't watch the whole thing. But, I don't know. I like the slow boat racing because I think there's more to it. But, this is where the sport's going. So my son wants to start foiling and wants a wasp, and I'm like, not until you learn how to sail properly. And he's sailing a laser. Just early days, 4.7. I said, when you learn how to sail properly and understand shifts.
What a dad. Do you like hit him with a belt at night too when he comes home?
No, but sets his alarm. You must eat a banana now.
See, remember, I'm in there for fun. I don't make him do anything. So if he doesn't want to do it, he doesn't have to. Except actually go out.
Apart from sailing a foiling boat.
Yeah, he's got to go out on the Tasar no matter what. So.
All right, mate. I think it's good. I know that you got to get a quick nap before you get on your boat and start sailing up the coast. Looks like it's a nice run though. Like you mightn't have much wind, but it's all blowing from the right direction, so that'll be fun.
Directions, we're actually into the breeze, but it's only super, super light. So we've got an easterly for the next. It's just a really light easterly. I think the last time I had a look.
Yeah. Okay. Hang on. I'll pull Windy up while I'm looking. It just once you get out of the Derwent, have we got Windy? Here we go.
We're in Port Phillip Bay.
Oh, well, I just don't know where I came out of Tassie.
Yeah, where are you going from?
I don't know. That probably explains why I was just going, oh yeah, you got nothing, haven't you? Yeah, no, you're straight into it. Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, no.
No, once just get around the corner.
I reckon we just stick it on autopilot, start cooking the pizzas and the quiches.
Yeah. Wait till you get to New South Wales before you put a sail up.
I think we're going to go hard. We were going to stop, but I think we're going to go autopilot to Bermagui, and we'll stop there and catch our breath, I think.
Nice. I have no idea why I thought you were coming out of Tassie. I just had for some reason, I know you're in Victoria, but for some reason I thought you were sailing out of Tassie. Don't know why.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Should be okay.
Oh, well, have a good trip, mate. Enjoy. I guess I'll see you when you're up my way.
Yeah, we'll be there. Should be there in July at some stage. So early July.
Yeah. Well, they're dredging.
Are they going to dredge it? Are they going to dredge it?
There's a dredge there dredging today, but today was the worst day I've ever seen it. I was trying to look for a pathway just to see where you go, and then I thought, you know what, I might just bring my surfboard. There's a new surf break right there. Like from the west wall, everyone takes off at Cardi's, which is past the east wall, near the lighthouse, and there's that wave that comes down and then it sort of stops, and then you got the entrance. That right in front of the entrance is probably waist deep. It's very, very shallow. And then from the west wall on, you've got a little gap of about 100 metres out from the wall, which is where the tide goes around. So there's a bit of depth there. And you go down and you go a couple of 100 metres and there's a little tiny channel. But beyond that, like there's sand everywhere. And you could actually surf all the way into Mooloolaba at the moment, just about.
So will we get in?
Well, I'll tell you when you get closer. It's what I'm saying, because the dredge is operating.
Big dredge or small dredge?
It's just the normal dredge that sits there. So I call it a small dredge. It's not like a...
They reckon that one won't move the bar, is it? They need the big one.
It's not a little mini dredge. It's medium-sized dredge. But all the listeners out there just going, oh, this is really exciting podcast. But, yeah, it is tough entry, but we'll surf it tomorrow and see what happens. Create a new wave, calling it West Cardi's.
Calling it... No, I'm not coming out with a name.
The Ginga special.
Hey, Mark, thanks for joining us, mate.
Thanks for having me. Love to.
Good luck getting up the coast.
Thank you.
See you in Hamo.
Are you there? Good one. Excellent.
And just going to put it out there now, but maybe you should bring that boat for Adelaide Lincoln race next year.
Yeah. Well,
Adelaide to Port Lincoln.
No, I'll be over doing the contenders, I think. When is it?
February, late Feb.
All right. You bring it over. I'll fly over and sail it.
We'll find someone. Here you go, listeners.
Stick your hands up. There you go. There's a delivery. All right.
Very good.
All right, mate.
Thanks guys.
Mate.
Thanks.
Cheers.
See ya.
Jordan, only thing wrong with that bloke, did not deal with specialised bikes.
I knew it was a bike thing. I wonder if the listeners are going to like that episode, because we just got a bit too local and we got a bit into our bikes, you know. I think most of our listeners will go with this. Like, there's a lot of passion for bikes in the sailing community, so
actually the whole bike thing, like we all go to these beautiful places around the world, but what do you see? Generally the yacht club or the regatta centre, you see the race course, and you see the hotel. But what bikes actually brought to yachting was you see a whole lot more.
That's it.
So instead of getting up in the morning just for a light run or something, you can spend half an hour, 1 hour on the bike, and you can actually explore some of these beautiful places, which, I found phenomenal. It's just exceptional.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
So,
no, it's good. It's good. Obviously, man loves his sailing. That's all you can ask.
Back to Mark. Well, he loves his sailing, but very successful.
Yep. Very successful.
Obviously, with several world championships, and just dominates in what he does. So, yeah.
Good on him. Cool. Right, let's move on. So, Jack Lloyd, Listener of the Week. We've got a few entries as per usual. The first one is I want to put forward Brady Lowe. So, Brady is a sailing coach.
Yes.
And he listened to the discussion with Shafe about the rescue swimmer, and he's doing a bit of work with Matty Chu, who a lot of people, and Stacey Jackson, so a couple of sailing pros, in the Moths, and they're talking about a lot of discussion around what the safety with falling classes is a big thing. So they're all wind dinging, they're all got falling windsurfers, all that sort of stuff. And, they're talking about helmets, and Mark even alluded to it with the A class, and they're talking about whiplash. And so they've got a lot of focus on helmets, on protections around the rib, and then what they have in their first aid kit on the coach boat. So Stacey Jackson, obviously sailing pro, but she's also does a lot of safety training. So there's been a lot of drive for that. And so they've actually gone into that aspect from a first aid kit. And now they're off doing the apnea diving, that's free diving thing that a lot of surfers do, and learning to do the breathing and stuff like that. So which I thought was quite interesting. Because I'm a bit scared of the apnea free diving sort of stuff, because, I've known, you hear of a few people that get into it and then sometimes they go down and down and down.
Take it a bit too far.
That's it, yeah.
But
they lose
I
touch.
think what I took out of Brady's comments, essentially, that whole breathing thing, I think that's important. But I struggle a little bit with the correlation between walking on the bottom of a pool holding a weight between trying to break yourself out of a harness or whatever that might be. But not taking anything away from the fact that they're thinking about this. And the fact 1 year ago, you would not take onto your coach boat what they do these days.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, lessons have been learnt in America's Cup, Sail GP, all those sorts of areas. But the fact that Brady, working with Stacey and all those guys, are coming up with their own techniques, that's bloody cool. I love it. It's a good forethought. It's proactive. It's, 10 years ago, you wouldn't even think about it.
Yeah.
Where's the sailing coach going to be in 10 years? And now he's got an oxygen bottle.
That's it.
She. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. The other potential is is Marcus Melander. He's a new listener.
Yes.
You got an email. We got an email from him.
We got actually got one that landed from via the website.
Oh yeah,
so for the listeners out there, you can contact us now the website, barkarati.com, if you want to just say hi or g'day listeners.
So what is it? You just broke up a bit. So it was cheers@barkarati.com?
No, not even. Just go to the website, barkarati.com.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
and there's a contact page or contact area where you can send a message.
Yeah. And he wrote, guys, found your podcast. I'm absolutely hooked. Been trying to find a decent sailing pod, and this is the bomb. Been on it for 3 days straight at work. Cheers, Marcus. We love that sort of stuff. We do, we don't make any money doing this. People think we do, I suspect, because I get asked, somebody said, how much money? You guys don't work anymore with Barker 80. And I said, yeah, right. But anyway, so we're doing it for fun. And, good times. So thanks for – so I don't know. Who are we giving it to?
No, well – I'm only for convenience value. I'm going to give the merch pack this week to Brady because I know I'm going to see him at some point in time.
Yeah. You may or may not get it.
An SA.
Yeah.
No, he'll definitely get it because, the listeners can't see this, obviously, but behind me I've got a cupboard full of Bar Karate T-shirts. So, by the way, if you want something, barkarate.com.
There you go.
Book in a T-shirt. Get it into you.
Cool. Very cool. Beauty, mate.
Ole, 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 ole. Feeling hot, hot, hot.
It's hot time with Bice.
Feeling hot, hot, hot.
How come you get a segment named after you?
Well, BP's not here, so I can't take the piss out of him too much. Because we promised we wouldn't do that.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, all right.
Okay.
So we'll save that for next week. So
Okay.
ask the question next week.
Okay. All right. Anything.
Mate, I'm putting it down to yachting is thriving.
Right.
This is what I'm saying.
Yep.
So let's just take a bit of a look what's going on at the minute. The SSL, Star Sailing League, going, literally they've had one race at the time of recording.
Yep.
We've got the Worrell 1000
Yep.
going on. We got Sail GP. We
Yep.
got the America's Cup they've got plans. We got America's Cup teams just seriously manipulating the design rules, and they're just designing shit that has nothing to do with the America's Cup.
Yep. Just to
basically, we got Flying Nika, the Mark Mills design flying boat. We've got all these super yachts being built, designed, delivered.
The Amaka class?
Industry is thriving. Who 2 years ago, we've been doing this for a bit over 3 years now. As we came into COVID, mate, we could not see a way out of this. But do you concur?
Oh, look,
with,
I hope so. Yeah, I mean, maybe we're just closer to it, we're seeing all the cool things. But regardless, people are still sailing. I just like seeing all the cool things, like whatever boat, kind of what Mark was saying in his discussion just before, like he doesn't care what boat it is, just go sailing. And that's one of the things I'm seeing, maybe it's because we've got so much social media nowadays, we get to find out about things a lot easier. But it's just great. People going sailing, I love it, and if whatever boat you got, just get out there and have a good time.
So that takes me to my next point.
Okay.
As part of Hot Times is now we see all this and we see it on social media and we think everything is thriving, but are our local yacht clubs thriving? The grassroots of the sport. And so what I'm saying now or putting out there to the listeners or whomever it is or all those grassroots sailors, keep pushing through, man, because that is where it all starts. It's easy for us to see all the flash and the glamour and the gold and the glitter, but and we try to, but we all need to get back in touch with our local clubs. We need to get back in touch with our young kids who want to come through. And especially as Mark was saying, and Santi, for example, Santi Lane comes to mind.
Yep.
Didn't sail till he was 11, 12 years old. And it was just going to have a bit of fun, have a sausage sizzle. Just that's where it all starts. So and being in the position we are, and we see all this stuff going on, and it's all well and good, but I really want to see our local clubs thrive.
Well, you're doing it, mate. You're the Bice Commodore, so you're actually putting the time in, volunteering and giving your time, so good on you for that. Yeah, cool. And so let us know anything that's going on. We're happy to promote. We're 100% happy to promote anything just to help the sport. So we don't charge anything. We do this to try and grow the sport. So I've got a question for you. Speaking of just getting out there and doing, we saw some photos in, I think it was one of the Facebook pages showing some photos of Hitchhiker, which is a Frères 40 that's 40 years old now. And it's the same owner that got it, commissioned it and had it built, still owns it and still races it. I'm going to ask, what boat would you like to be racing and own for 40 years? It's not allowed to be a bloody rainbow.
Well, seeing I can't have that answer. I'll probably own it right now. It's the Caribbean Crusader 235. No. Shit, that is a good question. And I've seen, we've seen a bit of a revival of the IOR fleet or the jog fleet in recent times. Especially a good mate of mine, Dave Hurley, rebuilt the Magic Bus back in NZ. Yeah. And then we've seen a few of them come through, but that is a super good question. And or try and imagine 40 years ago, those boats sailing around and who still owns them. I'm not sure there's many. No,
I saw a boat. I was paddling my ski in Newcastle a couple of years ago, and I paddled past a Far 40 I sailed on in 87. Just giving my age away. And just the old more war games. And just thinking, Jesus Christ, how old's that thing? That was such a state-of-the-art thing when it came out.
At the time, yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested, but I don't know what I'd pick. But I'm not sure that I'd have that loyalty, 40 years of loyalty. But
you know what comes to mind? One of the Santa Cruz 70s off the west coast of the US. I'm not sure they date back that far, but as a boat that has stood the test of time, that would be up there. Yeah. That was, I guess, almost the original boat built to go downwind, similar to a Ep160 or a Mocha or whatever you want to call it now.
Well, that leads to a question. What race would you do every year for 40 years? And it's obviously Transpac.
Yeah. Carbo or Transpac.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Another fun one, speaking of old boats that, you love, is there's a YouTube thing, a dude in the States, he and his missus been cruising around, and they've decided they've got the old Mike Plant boat, the Duracell, and they're converting it to a cruising boat. So which is a great idea. I've always thought that, some of these old Amokas or Class 40s, the 60s of Class 40s would be great if you could take them, because they're used to they're all set up to sail single-handedly, but you could actually have a pretty cool cruising boat. Probably not the modern ones, but anyway. So he's got the old Duracell and doing that, and got the boat for free, from what I understand. I was watching episode 30, listeners, episode 30, and 12 minutes and 10 seconds into episode 30. Who are they talking about? He's sitting away. He's made a mould and he's making the transom a bit bigger and
putting the sugar scoop in.
Yeah,
yep.
And
as we call it down here.
I'm watching, and then they're just here and there. They're chatting away about Nick Bice. on this show, like randomly, some two blokes in the States chatting about you, Bossy. I have no idea what the context was. It wasn't edited so you could understand what it was, but...
All right. Do you want me to tell you the truth?
Mm-hmm.
Top guys and what they're doing, this team, to get that boat and the mods they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But a few years ago, on American Idol, there was this guy called Bo Bice. And that was the music in the background. So I think you overheard the Nick bit, and they were just talking about Bo Bice, talking about singing. Had nothing to do with me at all.
Oh, no. Well, listeners, go and have a listen.
No, only joking. To the team doing that job, it was a bit of a brought a smile to my face. Yeah. I must admit.
Yeah, go and have a listen. So I wondered if they were talking about Barkarati was one thought, or they were talking about the ocean race or something like that. So, but anyway, so Nick getting a mention, so that was interesting. What else? The Worrell 1000, that's nearly finished. The Aussies.
How far ahead now? 3 hours? 2 hours? 2 hours or something? 3
hours, I think. Hang on, I'll pull it up. I'll go to the tape. Results. Currently, as we're recording, Aussie 77.27.27. Team Fast Forward Composites 80.24. So, yeah, good 3 hours in front. And then 82.17. It's been tough from what we can pick up. It's been tough. Like, there's been there was one race where it got cancelled, one race where they had a lot of retirements. It sounds like it's been quite tough. And there's plenty of video and footage coming out. We might follow up with the guys afterwards just to get a real sense of it, you know, and have a bit of a chat to them about it. But, that's going on. Go the Aussies. So we're very clever to have picked the team that's looking like it's going to win to interview before.
I knew we should run a book.
Well, everyone that comes on Barkarati wins. It's we've got the opposite of the commentator's curse. It means we must be crap commentators, is what I suspect.
Well, one, we're not commentators.
Yeah. What else? The Laser World Champs, the Ilka 7 Men's World Champs start this weekend. So good luck to everyone competing in those. Finn Gold Cup is pretty much nearly done. It's underway. It's right along there. I'm just trying to who's winning that? The Finn, Oskari Muhonen. It's a tight one. 12
Aussie.
Net points of 12, 15 for Pete Posma, first timer in the Finn. And Rudashi Florian, the Austrian, as well. So 25. So it's between Pete and Oskari. Still a few races to go. There are 6 races done at the time of recording, but it's a good one, the Finn Gold Cup. No longer in the Olympics anymore, so I'm intrigued how that class will survive. A lot of people love the Finn. They get a huge number of people turn out to their Masters. So, yeah. Anything else, mate?
Mate, speaking of that boat you want to own for 40 years, just going back, there has been a sale come up in Western Australia, an S&S 34. I tell you what, if you're buying this boat, you need to own it for 40 years.
That to amortise the price? Holy crap. That was ridiculous.
So let's just quickly talk about it. We'll go straight from the top. Price, $210,000.
I remember when they were $35,000.
Mate, an S&S 34, this must be an absolute classic. I worked on one during my apprenticeship, probably in 96 or 7, and at that point in time, it would have been worth at least $28,000, and it would have been at least 25 years old at the time.
Yeah.
So this one has been built in WA in 2005 using the cutting-edge vacuum infusion method. A modern example of a timeless classic. Wow.
Well, they did.
I really don't know what to say.
They did shine in the Hobart. You know, if you want to bash upwind, and if you want to win races by bashing upwind and being uncomfortable, jump on it. Obviously, Jess Watson will tell you, you know, you can sail around the thing around the world. You know, they're plenty of people that they were the boat that everyone sailed around the world for many years. So, well.
And I've been told by one Sir Keith Flint, well, not Sir, we should call him Sir, but Keith Flint, the best boat he ever went to sea in, S&S 34. I've been told by Don McIntyre, best boat he ever went to sea in, S&S 34.
I don't find them pretty. I do find older boats quite pretty, but not that one, not the S&S 34. But anyway, good on you, 210,000.
So anyway, get on board. That's at yachthub.com, so check it out.
Cool. All right, well, I might head to Sanctuary Cove Boat Show this weekend and have a bit of a look. And, yeah, see what I can buy.
Everyone can...
If anyone is at the Sanctuary Cove Boat Show, we won't publish this until I've been, so don't worry about that.
Stiff shit.
I was going to say, you can say good day, but you won't hear until after. So, yeah. Cool.
All right. Cheers, mate.
All right, bud. Good work. Stay happy. Oh, BP.
Can't believe he's back.
Where have you been, BP?